Rosemary, one of the things that you mentioned in the book is the 3 types of dreams that we have. I think a lot of people just generalize a dream is a dream is a dream. It's weird, I forget it or I remember it. But you mentioned there's actually 3 types, and I'm hoping that you can explain to our audience a little bit of what that is. There's the personal level, there's the archetypal level, and then there is the transpersonal level.
And a single dream may have all 3 of those aspects in it, because dreams are often like onions. They have layers and layers and layers to them, and they mean different things in different areas of life. Most of our dreams, as I mentioned, are personal. They deal with situations in daily life, our stresses, our anxieties, how we're facing crises. When we come upon important crossroads in life or big decision, dreams will address those and our concerns around those issues. So that's the personal level. And they will take content from daily life, the things you did yesterday, the movie you saw last night, the people you work with, your friends and family, almost like drawing from a photographic album of your life. And then there's another level, and that's the archetypal level, and that's where we start to get lifted up to a bigger perspective. Archetypes are images that contain a vast cosmic meaning of things. For example, a tree is not just a tree, it's not just the tree from your backyard, but it is a symbol of the axis that connects the subconscious to consciousness to the higher consciousness. Or it's a family tree. Or it's a cosmic tree that branches out into all of cosmos and that we are rooted in it. And some dreams really do have this kind of theme or imagery where we find ourselves in situations that seem to be much larger than life, where we're getting some sort of information through the dream about our place in the cosmic scheme of things. Then the transpersonal level is about change. It's about our deepening spirituality, our increasingly enlightened consciousness about who we are, not only as people, but as souls traveling the journey of life, and how that also fits into the greater scheme of things. Transpersonal dreams often come at times of crises, when we're really challenged to pull ourselves up to another level of awareness, or we're struggling against tremendous odds, fighting for our very survival on some level, and we have to call on our great inner depths in order to meet the challenges.
Do you think it's possible, you mentioned that these dreams, the transpersonal dreams, come in times of great transition. So that could be a personal transition, or it could be the transition that we all face as a civilization. Are there times where masses of us have the similar dream at the same time, say before 9/11 or some type of event like that?
There certainly are, Michael, and there's ample evidence that this has taken place throughout history. We have the power of united consciousness, and we're getting increasing scientific evidence of that, the power of collective thought. In fact, it has been postulated in the dream literature that our dreams are necessary for human survival, that it's not just about us, but it's about our part in the greater collective, and if we don't dream, we don't participate in this united consciousness in a very powerful way. Before major events, especially using the 9/11 example, there are indications that people are having the same kinds of dreams. After 9/11, for example, dream organizations, and I was very involved at the time in the International Association for the Study of Dreams, we received thousands of emails from people who said they had dreamed the disaster. Now, no one seems to have dreamed the entire event. Like, no one had a dream that on such a date at such a time, terrorists would send planes into the World Trade Center, would crash in Pennsylvania and crash into the Pentagon. But people had pieces of the disaster. We received a lot of dreams that people had, usually within a few days or a couple of weeks, of planes crashing into tall buildings crumbling and falling down, people running in mass panic, something like nuclear ash falling all over the landscape, which is what happened when the Trade Center fell. Chaos, people suffering, screaming, falling out of buildings. There were elements of the physical events that happened that showed up early in dreams. And we do get these previews of major events to come. And when something that shakes the world, shakes united consciousness, happens, the early waves of that event go out and start hitting people in the dream time. We have evidence through history of people previewing assassinations, other natural disasters, major things like war and conflict that break out, or an earthquake, all kinds of things that people will pick up on in advance of their actual happening, which then brings up the question, is there a fixed destiny, or are we really in a field of probabilities? Can we alter these events?
Wow.
Well, I do have an answer for that.
I'm ready.
My personal theory is that we live in a field of probabilities all the time. And at any given time, when we try and look into the future, we're looking into a probable outcome of forces in motion, and that continues to change. But when you have big cataclysmic events, I believe that there is a point where the forces in motion become fixed, like an airplane taking off. When an airplane takes off on a roll, there's a point where the pilot has to lift up. And that's what happens with these major events, that the forces in motion that are focused on culminating in this event are so far along, so far in place, that event's going to happen. And that's when we start to get the previews in our dreams.